Mr. Majestic was created as the Wildstorm universe's answer to Superman. He's an alien from another world, gifted with extreme strength, durability, flight, heat vision, and a variety of other powers and skills. But where Superman was all about maintaining the status quo, Majestic was unafraid to use his powers on a grand scale in order to protect the world. He is more brutal, more efficient, and, on the surface, more cold-hearted. So how will the DC Universe handle him replacing Superman? My name is Ben, and this is Comic Book Breakdown episode 33.3 of Mr. Majestic, Super-Man-Jestic. Here is the setup. During Superman Volume 2, Issue 200, Superman did a time travel / alternate reality story. At the end of the story, he saved the day and set things right, but he was left tumbling through the time stream. The last thing that he appears to see in the issue is Krypton? And then he loses consciousness. Good morning, Co. We pick things up in Action Comics issue 811, written by authors Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, art by Carl Kerschel, and colors by Tanya and Richard Horrier. This is actually the creative team for this entire story arc, which is going to be a nice bit of consistency. There are three big things that we need to know about the status quo of Superman at the time going into this story. 1. The villainous Brainiac 13, quote, poured his essence backwards through time to remake Metropolis in his image, end quote. Once he was defeated, though, the city remained with this new look and composition. It was made into a technological marvel with futuristic-looking buildings and cars. Second, a mysterious timestorm is ravaging the city. What caused this? No one knows yet. Blackouts plague the city. Those blackouts then lead to looting. The city streets are locked up with traffic. A powerful wind circles the city like a wall, spiked with the occasional lightning strike. Sometimes parts of the city will just vanish. Like they fade away or they crumble, they just no longer exist. The super scientist-led Star Labs is investigating, teaming up with former Superman replacement John Henry Irons, formerly known as Steel, his niece Natasha, who is the current Steel, and Superboy, and another former Superman replacement, the android called the Eradicator. And finally, the third part that we really need to know going into this is that Superman is missing, and no one knows why. I think my daughter's awake. Okay, I'm back. My daughter is awake, so I may need to step aside eventually to deal with her or to do something. But let's keep going with the episode. This particular issue stars Superman's wife, Lois Lane, who has not only been left behind, but has no idea what happened to her husband. As a reporter for the Daily Globe, she's reporting on the storm, on the stories that have been happening within it, and worrying about her husband. She recaps the broad strokes of his life story, which I thought was really smart at this point. But she also sees normal, everyday citizens helping each other out, stepping into Superman's role while he's gone. No one believes that he's gone forever. After all, he's come back from the dead once before. But will he come back in time? Will there even be a city left for him to return to? Lois racks her mind about what story she wants to give to her boss, Perry White. She's doing this while she stands on a balcony, thinking about it, when the structure starts to disappear out from under her feet. She manages to stay calm, running back towards the building, but it's just happening too fast. The floor disappears, and she is left hanging from an I-beam. And even that is disappearing. Just as she falls, a muscular hero catches her. You want to help? Are you trying to help out? Yeah? You silly. You silly. Bleh. Just as she falls, a muscular hero catches her. It isn't Superman, though. It's Mr. Majestic. We then bounce over to the adventures of Superman. We then bounce over to the Adventures of Superman issue 624, where Majestic introduces himself to Lois about as tersely as he possibly can. Just by smelling this reality, yeah, the DC universe stinks that bad. What Mr. Majestic can tell that he isn't in his home reality anymore. But he recognizes the time storm that's raging and can hear the screams of people who need help. So he flies off to do good, even as gravity is beginning to go wonky. Elsewhere, the Eradicator is doing the same, volunteering to help over at Star Labs. He suggests the theory that the reason there's a time storm is because the whole gosh darn city is made up of technology from the distant future. The present reality is rejecting this infection from the future, and it is destroying Metropolis as it does so. John Henry Irons agrees with this theory, and then adds a ticking clock to the story. Things have gotten so bad that in 12 hours, reality will collapse in on itself. They need to find a way to disrupt the time storm or depower it. We see Mr. Majestic then save some more lives, fight a supervillain or two in a really fun scene, and then he visits the Daily Planet. I think I called it the Daily Globe earlier. It's the Daily Planet. He's looking for some direction, sees Lois, and she points him to Star Labs, where they go next. The nerds are impressed by his other dimensionality, and he asks how he can help. Irons shows them their CVE, or Charged Vacuumed Appointment. Majestic recognizes this device immediately, of course, and understands what it's meant to do. However, he doesn't think that it'll work. Eradicator bristles at this. The finest minds on Earth came up with this plan, he begins, and Majestic cuts him off. The finest minds of this Earth, quote, "You're playing with fire. This could turn a time storm into a time inferno," end quote. Before they can discuss this any further, a lightning time strike lands near Majestic. Eradicator then goes on the offensive. Majestic came from this time storm, he argues. He is clearly part of the problem, and they can't afford to have him meddling while all reality is on the line. So he blasts Majestic with the Phantom Zone projector. This sends Majestic into a pocket dimension. My understanding of the Phantom Zone is pretty limited, but I believe that there's just nothing there. It's like a huge white empty space. Superman tends to send bad guys there for safekeeping. I don't have a lot of experience with it as a reader myself, but that's what I believe is going on. Eradicator, Superboy, and Steel then take the CVE into the time storm. The storm seems to get worse. We're told the Justice League reports that they can't break through the time bubble surrounding the city. In the meantime, we see a dam collapse, and something smashes into Star Labs. Guess what? It's Majestic! As far as opening chapters of a comic book go, I am, for the most part, pretty pleased with this. I will freely admit that the first most difficult hurdle for me to get past was simply the pacing. This story arc, called A Strange Visitor, is only 3 issues, but I honestly think you could have gotten it into 1, mimicking the style of the Mr. Majestic ongoing series that I really enjoyed. However, this story was also published 3 years after that ongoing series came to an end, and it's obviously being written by a different team of people. The industry was changing in 2004, moving towards more of a inspired by the sales of manga in bookstores, so let's write for a trade paperback style of writing. As such, we get an entire issue of Lois Lane waxing poetic about what Metropolis is like without Superman and the impact that he has had on all of their lives. Oh, you got your cube? Yeah, that's a good cube, I'm almost done. For me, someone who has a light history with Superman, this is kind of the best single summation that I have read of Superman's origin, purpose, and impact. Big thumbs up for me on this one. This also helps set the tone for the story. We've got this big, weird problem that is unsolvable by normal people. The city, the entire city, doesn't know what to do except to hold on and hope for the best. It is dreary, yeah, there is a threat on the horizon, but it's not bleak. Not yet, anyway. Then we have Majestic show up, and that's where things get a little bit fun for this story. Abnett and Lanning definitely humanize Majestic a little more than Casey and Holguin did in the ongoing series, but it's not bad. He is still a big know-it-all, for sure. He is still short with pretty much everyone around him. There's a moment when he stops a crime and a police officer gets shot. He then orders another officer to help that man, then goes back to stop the criminal. before he leaves, and this is only after it takes him seconds to stop the criminal, right? He turns to the cop again and he's like, has that man gotten help? Is he in the hospital? No? Then maybe you should do that. And then he just flies away. It is at once a perfect example of his lack of empathy and humanity, yet it also showcases that Majestic does care. He does not want this man to die. He just doesn't like this guy's inefficiency in how you handle this. Do what you're told, man. I also really love the interactions in these two issues between Majestic and Lois. When he explains the basic version of his origin, flying with her in the air through Metropolis, she just nods and goes, yup, sounds familiar. And then when he's at the Daily Planet, Majestic sees a newspaper that has Superman on it, and he pauses. Oh, that explains a lot, he says. The costume is a bit retro, though, don't you think? The acknowledging of Majestic and Superman's shared creative DNA in these two issues is super fun, and it's really neat. I love that the authors don't hide it. They both lean into it and demonstrate how Majestic is different from Superman. Like when they go to Star Labs, Majestic doesn't explain why the CVE won't work. He just says that it won't work, and then a fight breaks out. In his defense, Eradicator starts the fight, so maybe he would have explained if given the time. But the pacing of the scene, Majestic's dialogue, and the next issue kind of hint that wasn't the case. Eradicator was never going to explain anything. It feels like Majestic won't explain so that the authors can have their big reveal in the next issue without having to set any of it up here. However, this can also be misinterpreted as Majestic's own arrogance at work. He said that it won't work. He knows that he's right. He is the most capable person in this room, and from his knowledge, maybe even in this reality. Just listen to him, children. And of course, Eradicator and Irons don't take that in stride because they are used to being the smartest people in the room. Plus, they don't know Majestic from a hole in the wall. I was originally shooting to cover this entire story in a single episode, but there are some art things that I really want to talk about, and they would bloat up this episode big time, so I'm going to finish this up next week. The only major critique I have at this point is the vague idea and threat of a time storm. What is a time storm? Why is it having these effects? How did it start? What does this mean? And then, of course, there's the science gobbledygook bullcrap. Yeah? Yeah? The science gobbledygook bullcrap of being like, this time storm is going to become a time inferno. Bro, we were just told that all of reality is going to collapse. What's the difference between a time storm and a time inferno, and why should I care? Reality's about to die. Who cares if it catches fire before it dies? So there's a little bit of, sci-fi bullcrap going on here that kind of bothers me. But again, it's comic books. All of it's sci-fi bullcrap. Who really cares at the end of the day? Next time on Comic Book Breakdown, Majestic is back. He is pissed, and he needs to save reality before he goes down with it. Can this copy of Superman do Superman's job, or will he be eradicated? Join me in a week for Comic Book Breakdown, episode 33.4 of Mr. Majestic, Strange New Visitor. If you enjoyed this episode of Breakdown, please make sure to hit that like button, and if you are not subscribed to the show, then click on that as well. I love getting feedback, and I would really appreciate it if you did so. If you have any questions, concerns, or would like to suggest a comic or a series to me, Breakdown can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and on a variety of podcast platforms, with links in the description for this episode below, as well as the email cbbreakdown@gmail.com. Thank you for your time and attention.